The movie opens with a middle-aged woman named Sheila, who works as a teller at a bank. She's recently divorced from her husband and now lives with her teenage son, Vince. As Sheila goes about her usual chores at home, her attention is suddenly drawn to a TV ad for a boutique called Dentley Soper's. The ad is surreal, as if trying to possess the viewer's mind and hypnotize them into coming. Moments later, Vince excuses himself to go meet his dad. Sheila urges him not to leave without dinner, but Vince casually claims his dad's new girlfriend is making him dinner. The words cut through Sheila like a knife, as she had not realized her ex had moved on already. After Vince leaves, Sheila, determined not to appear like a loser, takes out a newspaper. There are a lot of ads for lonely men looking for dates, so she chooses one, and decides to send him a picture. The next evening, when Sheila returns home, she is stunned to find a girl posing on their kitchen counter. It turns out to be Vince's girlfriend, Gwen, who is the subject of his sketch. Sheila offers her a drink, but Gwen, who is absorbed in her pose, completely ignores her, leaving the woman feeling invisible. In the next scene, Sheila receives a message from the advertising guy, who agrees to go on a date with her. Excitement bubbles inside her as she heads to the salon the next day to style her hair. Later, she visits Dentley Soper's for some shopping, where she meets the sales assistant, Miss Luckmore. While browsing, Sheila's attention is caught by a red dress, displayed exclusively. Miss Luckmore calls it the best piece in the boutique, and tries to persuade her to purchase it. Afterward, Sheila puts on the dress, and is stunned to find herself looking truly beautiful. What surprises her even more is that the size 36 dress fits her perfectly, despite it not being her usual size. Sheila still hesitates, unsure if it is too much for a date, but Miss Luckmore encourages her to be bold and take the chance. In the end, Sheila decides to buy the dress, and she proceeds with the payment. Miss Luckmore then asks for her personal details, such as her complete address and phone number, which Sheila provides without hesitation. While listening to her, Miss Luckmore suddenly falls into a trance-like state, and her expressions become blank. But she soon snaps back and thanks Sheila for the purchase, assuring her that the dress will make her shine on her date. Later that night, we see Miss Luckmore receiving a call from someone, and with a chilling calmness, she shares Sheila's personal details. Meanwhile, Sheila arrives at the restaurant for her date, filled with anticipation for what's to come. The scene later returns to Miss Luckmore, who is seen removing the wig she had been wearing all day, revealing that she's bald underneath, and she places the wig on a mannequin. Meanwhile, Sheila meets her date, Adonis, who immediately strikes her as cheap. He proudly shows her discount vouchers for the restaurant, and hands her a crushed rose. He even expresses his disappointment that she looks different than in her picture. Returning to Miss Luckmore, her strange behavior continues as she squeezes herself into a dumbwaiter and begins to descend. Sheila's date, on the other hand, is going terribly. She tries to make good conversation, but the handsome man remains rude and indifferent, clearly not as interested as she is. Frustration builds inside Sheila as she feels the awkwardness between them grow. Sometime later, when Sheila returns home, she's shocked to find rashes suddenly appearing on her chest. The next morning, Sheila tries to do some laundry but can't find her red dress. She instead discovers it in Vince's room, and assumes Gwen must have stolen it. Vince claims that Gwen doesn't wear such dresses, but Sheila doesn't believe him. In a surge of frustration, she reveals how she finds Gwen disgusting and can't stand her staying over all the time, leaving Vince stunned. Later, after loading the red dress into the washing machine, Sheila joins Vince and Gwen to play Ludo. Here Gwen notices the rashes on Sheila's chest, and comments on how nasty they look. She nonchalantly claims she knew someone who had rashes like that, and eventually had to amputate her hand. This spooks Sheila, but she tries to remain calm for now. The game continues, and tension rises as the two women engage in a fierce competition. Vince advises his girlfriend not to be too harsh on his mom, but Gwen shrugs off his concerns, knowing Sheila hates her anyways. On the other hand, the washing machine begins vibrating violently. Sheila and Vince frantically try to stop the machine, but nothing works, and Sheila sustains a cut on her arm as they struggle to control the crazy machine. The next day, the injured Sheila heads back to Dentley and Soper's to resize a coat. While it's being tailored, she flips through a boutique catalog and notices a model wearing the exact same red dress as hers. Miss Luckmore reveals that the model's name was Jill, and she was tragically killed in an accident after the photo shoot. A surprised Sheila asks how many red dresses were in stock, and Miss Luckmore creepily tells her that there was only one. Sheila is shocked to realize she bought the same dress Jill wore before she died. Sometime later, when no one is around, Luckmore tears off Jill's page in the catalog and secretly inserts it in her crotch. Later that night, Sheila goes on a date with Zach, a guy she met through a newspaper ad. He has also arrived with discount coupons, which disappoints Sheila at first. But as the night goes on, Zach's unexpected sweetness shines through, and they start to connect in ways she didn't expect. Back at home, while Gwen and Vince are making love, the red dress suddenly starts floating around the house. Suddenly, Gwen notices the dress hovers on the wall by itself, and it starts suffocating her. Vince proceeds to calm her down, and the dress also immediately falls to the ground. Elsewhere, Sheila is enjoying her time with Zach. They realize they're a perfect fit for each other, and agree they won't look for any more matchmaking ads. Returning to the boutique, we see Miss Luckmore watching customers through the window. They are all desperate to come in despite it being early morning. Then, the owner of the boutique, along with all the employees, gathers at the front door. They greet the customers with bizarre hand movements, and bow down in an eerie manner. Later, Sheila is at home with Zach, and Sheila nervously mentions that something feels off about the red dress, since the model who wore it had died. But Zach thinks it's no big deal and urges her to put it on, so she eventually agrees and slips into the dress. Zach reassures her that she looks stunning, and they end up making love. The next day, as the couple is walking, a vicious dog charges at Sheila out of nowhere. It tears apart the red dress she's wearing, while Zach desperately struggles to control the animal. Later, they return home, and Sheila fortunately doesn't have any injuries. But when Vince returns with her clothes, they are stunned to find that the red dress is completely intact, and even more pristine than before. Later that night, Sheila is suddenly jolted awake by strange noises coming from inside her closet. And we see that it's because of the damn cursed dress moving by itself inside. Elsewhere, Miss Luckmore is seen doing bizarre movements, while the red dress begins to move violently inside Sheila's closet, terrifying her. The next day, Sheila heads to Dentley and Soper's, determined to return the red dress. But Miss Luckmore refuses to accept it because Sheila doesn't have the receipt. Sheila even offers to forego the refund, and simply asks them to take the dress back, but Miss Luckmore declines and advises her to file a complaint with another employee. Frustrated, Sheila begins to leave when the store owner stops her and asks what is wrong with the dress. But she refuses to engage in further conversation and storms out. That night, unable to bear the terror of the red dress any longer, Sheila tells Vince that she's going to the charity foundation to donate her clothes. She won't be coming home tonight, as she's staying with Zach instead. Later, we see Sheila driving down a desolate road, and the cursed red dress is squeezing out of her suitcase. Even worse, the woman is terrified when spots a naked mannequin standing in the middle of the road. And then this happens. Sheila spots another mannequin, resulting in a brutal crash. Moments later, an injured Sheila stumbles out of the car, and she sees the red dress hovering eerily in the air. She soon succumbs to her injuries. Not long after, Vince gets a call from the police, who want to inform him of his mom's death, but the damn boy seems a bit busy and ignores the call. A few days later, the scene cuts to a thrift store, where the cursed red dress has found its way onto a shelf. A man buys it, and casually places it over his vegetable basket. As he drives away, the dress slowly shifts on its own, and we see that the vegetables have completely rotted. In the evening, we see a guy named Reg celebrating his bachelor's party with close friends. They're drinking and having fun when one of his crazy friends pulls out the red dress he bought. He then forces Reg to wear it for the rest of the night. Reg eventually succumbs to the pressure and puts it on. His friends are amused by this, and they make fun of him. They all then start dancing, and make Reg spin on a chair. Overwhelmed by the amount of alcohol, the poor guy vomits outside. The next day, we see Reg lying in bed with a severe hangover. His fiancée, Babs, scolds him for drinking too much the night before. She then starts talking about wedding plans, but is interrupted when she notices strange rashes on his chest, and we realize that the rashes are similar to the ones Sheila had. Later, Reg goes to work, where we learn that he fixes washing machines. Afterward, Reg heads to fix a washing machine at a female client's home. The client shows interest in his life, and Reg reveals he's getting married to someone he's been with for 14 years. He insists that he's always been loyal to Babs, and isn't interested in anyone else. But the client doesn't believe him and begins flirting with him. And so, Reg changes the subject and starts talking about the washing machine. This seems to trigger something in her, sending her into a trance-like state. Later that night, Reg and Babs are sleeping when the red dress is seen floating in the room. In the morning, Babs puts on the dress and admires its beauty. She then notices that it's a size 36, and wonders how Reg fit into it during the bachelor party. Nonetheless, she puts it in the washing machine before the couple leaves the house. They later go to Dentley Soper's, where Babs is shocked to find that a size 38 dress is still too tight for her. As she changes out of the dress, she notices rashes on her chest, similar to her husband's. On the way home, Babs tells Reg that they need to ask his friend about where he got the dress, as both of them have developed the same rash after wearing it. Soon enough, they arrive home and are horrified to see that the washing machine has broken down. Reg then inspects the machine, but when he begins describing in detail what went wrong with it, the words appear to draw Babs into a trance-like state, similar to what happened earlier with the woman. The next day at work, Reg is summoned to his boss's office. It turns out someone reported that Reg fixed his own washing machine without reporting it. This goes against company rules because the company paid for his training. The furious boss fires him on the spot, and the boss angrily eats his ID, leaving Reg humiliated. Later that night, we see the couple sleeping when the red dress covers a cage where they keep their pet bird. The next day, they find that the bird has mysteriously passed away, and Babs believes the bird died from asphyxiation, but Reg can't fathom how a dress could suffocate it. It might have been carbon monoxide poisoning. We also notice that he is dressed up for work because he cannot bring himself to tell his fiancée about him getting fired. Later, Reg visits the bank to apply for a loan, but the officers are hesitant to approve it due to his current unemployment. Meanwhile, at home, Babs turns on the boiler and leaves the house, unaware of the danger she has caused. Returning to Reg, the loan officers offer him a deferred employment package, which they describe as a motivational loan to help people get back on the job market. They ask him to prove his skills and inquire about his knowledge of washing machines. And so, Reg begins explaining the intricacies of washing machines, and their parts in great detail. But as he speaks, the two men gradually fall into a trance-like state with their eyes glazed over. In the evening, Reg returns home and relaxes in front of the TV, trying to unwind from the day's events. Meanwhile, Babs heads to Dentley Soper's to do some shopping, wearing the red dress, but Miss Luckmore immediately asks her to leave, citing that it's almost closing time. Babs protests, saying she'll just pick a dress and leave quickly. But Miss Luckmore insists that to shop there, one must be presentable, and Babs appears to be shabby and unkempt. They are soon interrupted by the store owner, and after a private conversation with Miss Luckmore, she allows Babs to stay. At home, Reg watches a bizarre ad for Dentley Soper's on TV. The ad seems to have a strange hypnotic effect on him, pulling his attention in a trance-like state. At the same time, the boiler in the house begins heating intensely. At the store, Babs picks out a dress and heads to the dressing room to try it on. She takes off the red dress and throws it on the floor, but the dress suddenly starts moving on its own. Meanwhile, at the checkout line, Miss Luckmore is processing a purchase when two women erupt into a furious argument over who arrived first. It quickly escalates into a physical fight, knocking over mannequins and breaking counters. Seeing this chaos, Other customers take advantage of the situation and start looting the jewelry and clothes. At the same time, the red dress falls onto a heater, sparking a raging fire in the boutique. Elsewhere, Reg is discovered lifeless in front of the television, having died as a result of carbon monoxide poisoning. Meanwhile, in the boutique, chaos erupts as customers begin looting Miss Luckmore as well. Babs notices the thickening smoke and desperately tries to escape, but the door doesn't open. The fire grows uncontrollably, prompting the customers to finally leave the store. Unfortunately, poor Babs is eventually engulfed by the flames and she dies an agonizing death. Amid the chaos, Miss Luckmore seizes a mannequin and descends through the dumbwaiter to escape. As she descends deeper, we see her passing the dead model Jill, but Jill shockingly looks alive. Miss Luckmore goes further and notices other dead people, such as Reg, Babs, and Sheila. All of them are intensely focused on the same task of stitching the red dress. Furthermore, there are several unattended sewing stations beneath them, most likely set up for future victims of the dress. The movie ends with a fireman inspecting the charred ruins of the store. He is stunned when he sees the red dress, untouched and immaculate, amidst the devastation.